For centuries we've imagined Rome as a land empire, legions marching across continents, gladiators battling in arenas, roads stretching toward distant horizons. But beneath the surface of the Mediterranean, hidden from history books and Hollywood epics alike, lies a different story, a story of innovation so profound it transformed a collection of farmers and soldiers into masters of the deep. This is the untold tale of Rome's underwater warfare, the secret weapon that didn't just win battles but changed the course of civilization itself. Picture the year 264 BCE. Rome stands at a crossroads. The First Punic War has erupted, and suddenly this land-based power faces an impossible challenge: defeat Carthage, the greatest naval force the ancient world has ever known. Carthage's sailors have commanded these waters for generations. Their ships are faster, their crews more experienced, their tactics refined over centuries. Rome, by comparison, has barely any navy at all. Logic says they should lose. History says they should surrender, but Rome does neither. What happens next defies every expectation. Within months, Roman engineers study a captured Carthaginian warship like surgeons examining a body. They don't just copy it, they reinvent it. And here's where the story takes its first dive beneath the waves. Roman strategists understand something their enemies don't. Naval warfare isn't just about sailing, it's about controlling every dimension of the aquatic battlefield, including what lies below. Enter the Corvus, the boarding bridge that changed everything. You've probably heard of it as a simple ramp with a spike, letting Roman soldiers turn sea battles into land battles. But the true genius runs deeper. The Corvus wasn't just about boarding, it was about psychological warfare. When that massive spike plunged through an enemy deck, it created instant chaos below the waterline. Ships listing, taking on water, crews trapped between Roman infantry above and the crushing Mediterranean below. The Corvus turned the sea itself into Rome's ally, weaponizing depth, pressure, and panic in ways no one had imagined. But this was only the beginning of Rome's underwater revolution. Along strategic coastlines and harbors, Roman engineers began constructing something unprecedented: submerged defensive networks. Picture invisible barriers lurking just beneath the surface. Wooden palisades, reinforced with iron, positioned precisely where enemy ships would sail. These weren't crude obstacles, they were calculated traps, designed to tear open hulls while remaining completely hidden until the moment of impact. Ports like Ostia and Portus became fortresses not just above the waterline, but below it. Enemy fleets approaching under cover of darkness would suddenly find themselves impaled on Rome's hidden defences, sinking before they could even engage. Then there were the divers, Rome's silent underwater operatives. History rarely speaks of them, but archaeological evidence and scattered ancient texts reveal their existence. These weren't casual swimmers. They were trained specialists who could hold their breath for minutes, navigate murky depths, and execute missions that would terrify most modern soldiers. Before major naval engagements, Roman divers would slip beneath enemy ships anchored in harbour, boring holes in hulls, cutting anchor lines, sabotaging rudders. By dawn, when battle horns sounded, half the enemy fleet would already be compromised, sinking slowly or unable to manoeuvre. Victory was decided before the first arrow flew. Consider what this means. Rome took warfare, traditionally a surface-level affair of visible armies and obvious tactics, and added an entirely new dimension. They militarized the invisible. Every harbour became a potential trap. Every anchored fleet became vulnerable. The psychological impact was devastating. Enemy commanders couldn't trust the water beneath them. The sea, once Carthage's domain, became a place of paranoia and fear. But Rome's underwater genius extended far beyond combat. Their engineers understood that, controlling the seas meant controlling what moved beneath them, not just weapons, but resources, infrastructure, and information. They constructed underwater foundations for harbors using a revolutionary concrete that actually hardened underwater, a technological marvel that wouldn't be matched for over 1,000 years. These structures created protected harbors in places where nature provided none, allowing Rome to project power across the entire Mediterranean. Supply lines became Rome's underwater lifelines. Protected sea routes meant consistent food shipments, reinforcements arriving on schedule, and trade goods flowing without interruption. While enemies worried about surface piracy, Rome secured the depths. Their merchant vessels followed routes protected by those hidden barriers, sailing with confidence while competitors risked destruction. This wasn't just military strategy, it was economic warfare. Rome's naval supremacy generated wealth that funded further expansion, creating a cycle of dominance that seemed, unstoppable. Today, beneath the Mediterranean's blue surface, archaeologists are still uncovering evidence of Rome's aquatic genius. Recent excavations off Sicily revealed intricate bronze rams, not just weapons, but masterpieces of engineering designed to strike at precise angles below the waterline. Shipwrecks discovered near Actium show hull modifications suggesting specialized underwater combat vessels, ships built specifically to excel in submerged warfare. Each discovery rewrites our understanding, revealing layers of sophistication we're only beginning to comprehend. So, a shipwreck found near Antikythera contained not just cargo, but also navigational tools suggesting that the Romans actually mapped underwater topography, like sandbars, reefs, and, optimal attack channels. They didn't just sail the sea, honestly. They understood its hidden geography better than anyone before or since. This knowledge gap gave them advantages that, seemed almost supernatural to their enemies. How did Roman fleets navigate perfectly in fog? How did they always know where reefs would trap opponents? The answer was beneath the surface, in knowledge that was painstakingly gathered and, jealously guarded. The legacy of Rome's underwater warfare, it really does echo through history. Their tactics influenced Byzantine naval strategy, which ended up dominating for centuries. Their harbor construction techniques, inspired Renaissance engineers. Modern naval warfare, with its submarines, underwater sensors, and concealed defensive systems, actually follows principles Rome pioneered 2 millennia ago. The idea that victory belongs to whoever controls not just the surface, but the depths, that's pure Roman innovation. What makes this story so compelling isn't just the tactics themselves, it's what they reveal about human ingenuity. When faced with an impossible challenge, Rome didn't accept limitations. They looked where no one else was looking, fought battles in dimensions others hadn't imagined, and turned their greatest weakness into an unstoppable advantage. They understood that innovation means challenging assumptions about what's possible. And here's the profound truth. Most of this story remained hidden for centuries, not because historians ignored it, but because underwater archaeology couldn't reach it. Only now, with modern technology, are we finally seeing the full picture, which makes you wonder, what other secrets remain down there, waiting in the dark? What other innovations lie preserved in Mediterranean silt, ready to rewrite history again? The story of Rome's underwater warfare is ultimately the story of human potential. It's about refusing to accept defeat, about finding solutions in unexpected places, about mastering not just what we can see, but what remains hidden. Rome didn't just conquer an empire, they conquered dimensions of warfare itself. If this glimpse beneath the waves has changed how you see ancient Rome, imagine what other stories are waiting to be told. Subscribe to Through Time, where we dive deep into history's hidden currents and surface with revelations that change everything. Share this story, because the past isn't dead. It's just waiting beneath the surface, ready to teach us who we really are.